Alright, I'm trying to get used to the whole, YouTube thing back again. That's why I'm just blushing, but it's okay. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, A Voice to Be Heard. Okay, my name is Toby, and if you're new on this channel, you're most highly welcome. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button somewhere up there and stay tuned to this channel because I've got loads of things coming up, need to inspire, elevate, motivate, share my thoughts, share my opinions, share a lot of things out there. And if you are a subscriber, I just want to say a very, very big thank you to you. Honestly, I can't appreciate you enough. Let's get on this journey together. Today I'm going to be talking about 10 key things you need to know as a first year PhD student. So these thoughts are actually based on my own experience during my first year of my PhD. These are the things that also worked for other PhD students that I was able to, interact with and actually understand how people go about their journey in their first year of PhD. So let's go, guys. Number one, you need to stay motivated. Motivation. You need to stay motivated. Whilst doing my PhD, when I started my PhD, I was highly motivated because, I had to. It was a new environment. Obviously, I've been in the academia, I've been in the academic environment, but it was just totally different, trying to work on your own research. So I had to fit into that space. That motivation actually, made me pursue that dream, because there are times where you feel so demotivated, such as when you get like criticisms or certain feedbacks, or you can't fit into certain things that you're expected to do during your research. And as a first year, you are demanded to, accomplish certain things in your first year. So if you are not motivated, you're going to feel demoralized, you're going to feel depressed, you're going to feel like you're just going to keep asking yourself questions like, do I really want to do this? Is it something I want to do? So you really need to stay motivated. Like, you need that motivation. Number two, you need to have a good plan. Planning is very essential. That's what I'm going to say. The key word here is planning. So planning is very essential. This is something, whilst I was starting my PhD, I got like loads of notebooks because I've always loved to write. So whilst I was going for different, seminars, workshops, I always had my book with me where I actually had to write. And over time, I realized there are times whereby the book I had was too big and it couldn't fit into certain bags. So I decided to buy like little books, something like this. I'm not sure you can see it properly. So yeah, I feel like my lighting is a bit too much. But yeah, so just try to get like little books like that, so that could actually, help, and it could fit into a lot of bags. However, I've got, friends, and sometimes I use like online notes such as Evernote. If you don't know about Evernote, you can check on it. It really helps. It really helps students. And if you're working class, in daily activities as well, it literally helps. But it's highly recommended for students as well. So I use Evernote sometimes. So if you're not too big on writing, you can use Evernote. You just do your thing online, set reminders, and let you have a proper planning, because you need to plan. You need to have this plan in your calendar. Obviously, if you're using something like Outlook, you already have your meetings set up and it gives you like a reminder maybe 15 minutes before, 30 minutes before. You just need to set those things to make sure you don't forget certain workshops, certain seminars, certain deadlines. You just need to make sure you're aware, you're conscious, you know exactly what you're about to do, you know what you're going to do the next day, you know what you want to achieve in the next week. So good planning is very important, because if you do not plan properly, it's just gonna sweep you off your feet. So you need to plan properly and be consistent with your planning. It's difficult, but you just need to have a plan. Number three, the third thing you need to take note of, that thing that's essential, is actually understanding your key research papers. What are those key research papers that aligns with your research? So you need to make sure you're familiar with these key research papers. Look at what they've done, look at what they haven't done. So these are the things that will help you find the gap in your own work, in your own research. So identifying those key research papers is key. The fourth one, you need to be aware of your university ethics. So ethics is very, very important. University ethics, the procedures, the policies that are in place in your university, you need to be aware of those things. I'm going to use myself as an example. When I was starting my PhD in my first year, I thought it was going to be very easy for me to just get through my ethical approval. So because my plan of my PhD was to actually conduct both primary and secondary data collection. And during this process of my primary data collection, I had to, interview children. However, this process didn't go through because the children are classified as being vulnerable in terms of my research. So it was a bit of horrible state, to be fair. I'm not going to lie to you. And it was horrible. So I wasn't really necessarily aware of that procedure, which was going to take. I knew about ethics, obviously, but I just did not realize that the university was not going to let me, conduct that interview with children. Yeah, that's going to be a different topic for another day. But yeah, so you need to be aware of just certain ethical procedures, the policies that in the university. The fifth thing now is you need to think about how you're going to get your credit completed. Like in my university, we used to have, you need to be able to complete about 350 credits in the 3 years. So the way the credit works is just, dependent on how you want to get your credit. So if, for example, I'm doing like a particular module, you get like 60 credit off. So in my first year, I literally got like almost all my credits in my first year because I did take 2 different modules. Then I had attended a lot of workshops, seminars, conferences. Like I said, I was highly motivated. So I was, I was active, I was very active. I needed to, fit into as much as, as much I can see the spaces, I was happy to fit into a lot of spaces. I was happy to go to a lot of places. I was happy to present in a lot of places. I was just happy to be in that academic space. So yeah, you need to, know how you're going to complete those credits, and because obviously if you do not complete those credits, it's going to affect you from getting your PhD. And what my advice is that you should try and get as much as possible credit or unit you need to get it done in your first year, so you don't have to get a lot more done during your other years, like your second, third and fourth year, because during that process you're going to be focusing on a more in-depth aspect of your research. Number 6. Now, this is the 6th one. You need to understand your supervisor. You need to understand your supervisory team. I had issues in the initial stage trying to understand my supervisors, trying to understand what I'm expected to do and how to relate with my supervisors. So you need to kind of understand, who your supervisor is, what their interests are, the best time that's comfortable for them, how your meetings are going to be. You need to make those things absolutely clear. Depends on how your university works as well. But in my university, it's a bit different from a lot of universities as well. But you need to understand how your supervisory team works. If you want me to put a video on the supervisory team bit, because it depends on if people are actually wanting to, listen to that video or watch that video. So yeah, you can just, drop down a comment in the comment section to let me explain to you how to interact with your supervisors and about supervisory team, understanding your supervisor. The seventh one is your methodology. I believe the methodology is actually a very, crucial part of your research. Your methodology actually brings together your findings. You see what I mean? And methodology is like a framework for your research, so you need to understand what sort of methodology you're going to be using. You need to have had a proper idea of that. You can't get to your second year and start saying or start thinking that, what, I want to get into primary data collection. This is something you should have been aware of from your first year. You should, you need to be aware of those things, because if you do not start from your first year, it's going to be difficult for you to start bringing those initiatives into it. So you need to have laid that foundation from your first year. So you need to be aware of your methodology. Am I just focusing on secondary data? What sort of methodological analysis am I using? You need to understand your methodological discussions. You need to understand those bits that actually help your methodology. If you want more discussions on this as well about methodology, feel free to inbox me or send me a message if you need to talk to me about anything. I'm happy to communicate with you in regards to my own experience and how it can help you as well. Now, the eighth thing I'm going to be talking about now is your referencing and keeping your work, like documenting your work, referencing and documentation. Now, when I started my PhD, I had issues with my references, because I just thought, because I was using footnotes and necessarily do not need to have like my bibliography at that time. So what I was doing is just to do my footnotes, and then I just, left aside my bibliography. And what I realized I could have done is to use software like Mendeley to actually, save my references and then make it easy to compile it and then, produce it for me at the end of that chapter, or at the end of that, my thesis in general. So this is like, I had to go all the way through it one after the other, which is like a bit of, an issue, which I'm actually still working on right now, to be fair. So it's advisable to, keep record of as little as the materials you have, regardless of how small that material is. It's highly important for you to keep record of it. As long as it's in your work, as long as you've made reference to it, you're definitely going to need it. And to make things more easier for you, because trying to work manually these days is a bit of a headache, so you could get softwares that would actually help you put these things together and make it easier, faster and more productive for you. In some other video again, I'll talk about productivity. The ninth one I'm going to be talking about is networking. Networking is very important. I'd recommend you to start networking from your first year. You don't have to wait till like your second year or your third year or your fourth year before you start networking. Networking is key, is essential. You can network when you go for conferences, you can network during workshops, you can network during seminars, you can network even within your own offices. For example, we have like an office like for PhD students. So in your office, you can talk to the person next to you, talk to your colleague, network with them, understand what their own research is all about, understand how they plan to navigate around it. In this process, we learn from each other. In this process, you're able to, cultivate certain habits, or actually drop certain things, or, more aware about certain situations as well, and actually how to overcome certain situations. So you need to know how to network, not necessarily you trying to be over friendly or, going off the board, but you just need to network with certain people that going to help you throughout your PhD, because you need to have somebody you can run to ask certain questions. How do I do this? How do I go about this? I have this problem, I have that problem. Not necessarily everything that has to go through the official way. Do you see what I mean? So you need to actually learn how to network with a lot of people. And we have social media platforms like LinkedIn, actually helps people to network as well. You have the academia. If you check on academia, you can actually network with people, because I use academia a lot during my primary data collection. I actually was able to, talk to certain people. And during my first year of PhD, I remember that this particular this particular woman, to be specific, I kept coming across research papers which were very, very fantastic. And what I did was I checked upon her on academia, and then she was on academia, and then I sent her a message. Oh, I actually like your research paper. It's actually very, very, very essential to my work and all of that. And then we had a quick interaction about it, how she's super excited how people are actually picking up on this research I'm actually conducting, because a lot of people actually see it as less important in the society. And then we had a quick chat about it, and yeah, it was amazing. And having that guide sometimes as well from certain people is very important. The third thing I just want to say is, do not overwork yourself. I overworked myself in my first year of my PhD. I was overstressed. I kept asking myself the question, am I doing the right thing? Am I at the right place? It was a whole lot. I was very energetic in my first year, which is very good. I was highly motivated, which is brilliant as well. But I overworked myself, because, you're trying to because it's your first year, so it happens to a lot of people whereby you just want to get things done as soon as possible. You're very excited to start this journey, and in that process you might overwork yourself. You might realize you're not having a proper life balance. You see what I mean? So it's a bit, you're just gonna take a step back and actually take things gradually. As long as you've got your right planning, you've got the right things on check, boom, you're good to go. Okay, just put them in mind. If you have any other suggestions, any comments, any things to share, any questions to ask, please feel free to drop them down in the description, not in the comment section. In the comment section, yeah, feel free to drop your questions, your thoughts, anything in the comment section. And yeah, thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you on my next video.